One of the best containers money can buy is a 20-foot with 2 sets of side cargo doors. These give you a huge advantage over containers with just the doors on the regular end. And today we're taking it one step further. Not just a single container, but 2, and we're connecting them side by side. How? With the newest version of our low-profile double wide kit. It's completely bolt-on and 0 welding required. That makes it faster, cleaner, and a lot more accessible for DIY builders. When we're done, 2 of these containers will transform into a massive 16-foot wide structure. And here's the part that makes it truly unique. You'll have doors on every single wall, front, back, left, and right. Stick around, because in this video, I'll show you exactly how it goes together and why this design unlocks possibilities most people have never thought of. Hope you learned something. Before modifying anything, let's talk about these containers. They're 20-foot units with 2 full sets of side cargo doors. So here you can see we're working on some steel beams as a temporary work platform. These are actually old school rig mats, and they're gonna allow us to do a couple things here. One, it gets us off the ground, so we're still kind of laying in the dirt here. It would be nice to be a couple feet up as we're working on this stuff. Definitely not working in the dirt as bad as it could be. And then another thing they do is they allow us to bring these 2 containers together when that time comes, after these panels are dropped and all of our structural reinforcement is installed. To speak about how we're going to reinforce the floor, this is the first time that we're trying a weldless method. So we folded some very special profiles that will basically interlock from one container to the other and give ourselves a flat surface to put a finished flat bar or something in there to seal everything up. And these install with 5/16 thread cutting bolts right into the bottom side rail, the flat web portion of that structural member. This is designed to work with both the Z-type and the C-type bottom side rails. Having this angle here just gets rid of the variance between the different container manufacturers. And what we're gonna wanna do here is put the PL Premium Max in between here. So these fasteners, they'll hold it until that sets, and then we want a very rigid adhesive connecting any structural component. We're not worried about the water seal because it's below our floor, and we want a very durable connection. So let's jump over here and see. Jeremy has one installed already, and here it is. So he's got the 5/16 thread cutting bolts already in there. I hope he's sealed that all up, or he'll be peeling it off and doing that afterwards. Sometimes we just like to test fit, especially on prototypes like this. And this is that flat portion that will be observed on each container once these 2 come together, and we'll just lay in a flat bar there. Or one thing that'd be really cool is if you actually had some water or anything in there, you could almost let the floor sag and have that as a floor drain or something. So interesting thought. Let me know what you think down below. We've added something new on this kit. Because we're not using the mod box this time, we have a 60mm tubing here, and that's not as structural as that 60x80. And so we've added these corner gussets here. So it's pretty thick steel, and that is gonna bolt both into the corner post and then the top tubing, and really allow the loads to transfer down the corner post and then into your foundation. We're also leaving half the corrugation here, which is also gonna help gusset everything. And one thing I want you to look at is it is perfectly flush up at the top here. It looks perfectly flush compared to the hinge here, but then this corner casting looks crooked on us. And that actually happens. We observe that a lot. When they weld these in China, and we'll notice like from one end to the other, it'll be out 3-4 millimeters. I think we've observed up to 7 millimeters. So that's a variance that might happen, but just, it doesn't really exactly matter where this thing is. Get her pounded in there. It doesn't connect to anything else. It just really helps structurally reinforce this top corner. We've made some slight changes to the interior structural component. We've turned it into a bit of a Z or G profile, and that we've just dry fit. So we've installed them all actually, and the first 3 are up here, and then pulled this one down. And we see that they all work. And then once that adhesive sets, I'd actually rather rely on that than the fasteners themselves. They make some pretty good stuff nowadays. So this here has an extra lip that pokes outwards. There's a reason for that. That actually matches the same plane as our steel stud brackets. So if you're looking to steel stud across the roof of this container and you're doing one more on the other one, and you want to transport them, say on a 40-foot flat deck, and then put them together at site. Now you can insulate both shipping containers, and then you only have the gap in between here to finish up at site. It is a bit of a pain, potentially that it's going to be a cold spot or an opportunity to leak, like all double wide containers with perfectly flat roofs. So I really suggest putting a peaked roof across these things once you're all said and done, if you really want 100% warranty on not having water intrusion later down the line. So this here looks really good. Got it all tested. We're gonna pull it off, put some adhesive on it, and jump to the next one. With the inner header installed inside the container and the bottom channel supported outside the container, we are finally ready to drop these corrugation panels. If you've watched any of our previous double wide videos, you'll see how much I stress safely dropping the corrugation panels. Jeremy. Got these pushed together with our skid steer, and they surprisingly lined up quite well. We have the bottoms tight together and the tops are opened a little bit, and so it's just telling us that our foundation's kinked, and that gives us an opportunity to look at this though and show you guys how this all looks and how the kit's designed. And so here on each container we have staggered little plates that we're able to install a flat bar, something laser cut that would slide in here. And then now we can rivet down, we can glue, we can weld, do whatever. Don't have it fully squeezed together, but it does look like this is too narrow for these containers. These are very special containers and they could be different from a regular ISO. And that's why our 3D model might have made us a little bit wonky there, but we'll have to go back to the drawing board and make sure that we get something that fits there. And potentially, just with the specific application of this container, there is an opportunity to actually let this floor sag a little bit and put floor drains in there. Let's talk about that later in a future video. I really like the way that this two-part header kit works. So we installed these inner portions first. That allowed us to drop all the corrugation panels, and then the roof was nice and straight. This top tubing was straight, and then we put our outer portions on. And this is way better than previous attempts where these coming together, they're not quite together, but it looks like they're gonna be perfect, and we're not gonna have to jack one container up to the other and then bolt it together. You don't really want that, because even if you do get them nice and straight, one container could be putting extra torque on the other and just constantly pulling on each other. And with flat roofs and water sitting up there, that's usually a no-no. And so anytime you're doing a double wide container, I always kind of relate it to working with concrete. Concrete, the one thing it's gonna do guaranteed is crack. These things, I think in due time, with flat roofs like this, they're gonna leak. Ideally, if you can get our exterior truss brackets and build some sort of a peaked roof or a single slope roof across here, that's the ultimate insurance plan on making sure that you're not gonna get big old water dripping all the way along the floor of your double wide paradise. I am very happy with how straight these two containers are, but unfortunately we changed a couple variables here. We made some changes to the header and the way that the things install and the order, but we also added these gussets in the corner. I don't know if these are contributing to that. They obviously help a little bit, but I think the combination of everything and just forward progress is making this kit nice and tidy and very structural. So the next step is to jump outside. We're gonna cinch up the bridge fittings, and that's gonna bring these two containers perfectly together up top. And we are really hoping that all of our holes line up because we got a slide 1/4" bolts are there and we're gonna tighten that from the roof. Slight change this time. Before we go and throw the ridge cap on top of these headers, I wanna make sure everything's nice and sealed up. And so I've got some Sikaflex self-leveling sealant here. I'm a little bit scared of this stuff because I've done it previously and it really gets away on you and drips. So we've created little dams with other caulking to try to make sure that this doesn't run away on us. I'm very hopeful that if we squeeze this in here along the header, because water's gonna wanna sit in here, it's really gonna flow in and get in all the tiny little gaps and cracks. So rather than try to really push caulking that isn't meant to self-level, it's very similar to the self-leveling floor compound that a lot of people have probably used more in their homes. So just think of it that way. I've got 2018 expiry date on this. I found it, we've been storing it for a long time, so I'm actually excited to get rid of it, assuming that it's actually going to work. Drum roll. It feels liquid still, it's not rock hard. We will see. Here goes nothing. I'm not sure about the 2018 model self-leveling sealant there, so I think I'm gonna go spend a couple bucks and get a new tube and just see the difference in workability, because it started off viscous and got pretty thick and I'm not very far, and so see you again tomorrow. So on the inside of here, we've installed our beauty cap up top here, and that's really actually meant for non-insulated purposes, just to cover all those corrugation welds that were left behind. But in this instance, because we've only spray foamed the roof, that's for condensation control. So we can still install this here, and that just seams that up a little bit and makes it a little more pretty. It's also something that we can potentially build off of if we wanted to strut line straight across this and maybe hang some lights or something in here in the future. So that pretty much wraps up the whole install inside of this container with this 20-foot double wide kit. The final piece is to jump up on the roof, and we got to rivet that ridge cap down. So let's talk about the tools required right at the end of the video here. These M12 rivet guns, these have been very good to us, but we've tried out Milwaukee's new M18 rivet gun, and when you pull the trigger, this one's like 3 times faster. So given that we pull so many rivets here, this is a worthwhile investment, but it's very expensive. If you're gonna take on a project like this, you should invest in at least something like this. It's gonna totally speed this up. You do not wanna be pulling these rivets by hand. And here with this ridge cap, because this flange is on the outside part, that's actually any water coming through here isn't gonna drain into the header, we can utilize our structural rivet. So that rivet there is just a lot stronger than our aluminum sealed rivets, and probably a better application for this in case when we go to lift one container, there's torque on this ridge cap, because this whole system is just bolted together. We do not have any welds in this container. That's a reminder. That was actually my first time pulling that. These structural rivets, they're traditionally really hard to pull, but that was really easy. Let's try that again. On this prototype here, we actually drilled the holes, because what we were finding on previous versions is that these containers can really bow on us. And so when we laser cut the 2 holes, they'd never line up anyway. So this way we can just let it be the way that it is, and we'll define those holes afterwards. We're not sure if we can one day figure out that phenomenon or if this is just part of the process. TBD. So there you go. I'll just finish up the rest of these, and then I think we've pretty much buttoned up this entire kit. So that is it. These 2 20-foot shipping containers are completely sealed up without an inch of weld. I know I tease you guys with welds all the time, but this time we truly have achieved that. And the proof is in the pudding. We have lifted this and it's stayed together and stayed sealed up top to bottom. So now that we have ourselves a double wide container that has a 16-foot drive-through bay, we can park things inside of here. So you could fit cars or potentially small SUVs in here. You're not gonna get a truck in the 16-foot bay though. We have quads, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles to store, and they're a seasonal item. So potentially, if your snowmobiles are in your shop in the winter, you want all your quads put away in a rodent-free environment. And that is exactly why containers are an amazing structure to be storing your valuables inside of. But if you just ram this thing with your snowmobile skis, You might go over the handlebars. And so what we're gonna show you in the next video is some nifty contraptions that we're gonna come up with that are gonna allow us to drive right through this shipping container and not completely damage the floor with your carbides. Stay tuned, hope you learned something.